Welcome back to part 3 of Module 7, Lesson 4, where we are learning to write and solve multi-step equations. We left off this one with Miss Hill designing a rectangular vegetable garden for her backyard. The width of the garden was 11.5 feet, shorter than twice the length of the garden. Now if you take a look at the image she has here, you have the length of the garden right here. The width was twice the length minus 11.5. So yes, it is shorter, even though we're multiplying it times 2. We're subtracting 11.5 from it, getting a smaller garden. We also know that the perimeter of the garden is going to be 37 feet. So if you did the length plus the width plus the length plus the width, you're going to get us 37 feet total, and they want us to take and come up with an equation that we can use to represent the perimeter of that garden and to find out what the lengths of the sides are going to be. So first thing they're going to do is set up our equation where we have the lengths. You've got two lengths, so you're going to have, actually I'm sorry, this side's going to be 37 because 37 is going to equal everything on the perimeter. And on the perimeter, you've got 2 times the length, because there's 2 lengths, and 2 times the width, because there's 2 widths. And the width was 2 lengths minus 11.5. So right there's the equation we're going to be using to solve. From there, we're going to take it forward to the next step and work towards isolating our variable. The first thing they did is took and used a distributive property here. They said 2 times 2L gave them 4L. And 2 times a negative 11.5, that gave them a negative 23. From there, they combined their like terms. 2L plus 4L gave them 6L. And then they worked towards isolating that variable by undoing addition and subtraction, adding 23 to both sides. The 23's on the right zeroed each other out, leaving 6L. On the left-hand side, 37 plus 23, that was equal to 60. Finally, they took and divided both sides by 6 to isolate the variable for our final step. The 6 that's on the right divided out, and on the left-hand side, 60 divided by 6 is going to equal to 10, and that teaches us that the length of the garden is going to be 10, I believe it was feet long. If you wanted to go back and find the width of it, well, the width would be 2 times the length, so 2 times 10 is going to be 20. Minus 11.5, 20 minus 11.5, the width would have been 8.5. Once again, it's going to be your turn to solve the problem. For this one, we have a fair where Hunter bought 3 snacks and 10 ride tickets. Each ride ticket cost $1.50 less than the snack. He spent a total of $24, and they want us to take and come up with an equation to represent this information. Well, what we know is that we know he bought 3 snacks, right? So we're going to say 3 times S is going to equal the cost of the snacks. And we also know that each ride ticket was $1.50 less than the snack. And he had 10 ride tickets, so right here you've got 10 times the cost of the snack minus $1.50. And what did that equal for a total? That equaled a total of $24. That's the equation we're going to work with for this one. From there, you guys go ahead and solve it on your own, and then check your answer down below. The first thing I'm going to do working this problem after writing it down, of course, is to use the distributive property. So the 3s gets left alone, and then I'm going to do plus 10 times s is going to give me a 10s, and 10 times a 1.5, as negative 1.5, that's going to give me a negative 15. From there, those two things combined are going to equal to 24. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. 3s plus 10s, that's going to give me 13s, minus 15 is going to equal to the 24. I'm going to undo addition and subtraction by adding 15 to both sides on the left and on the right. Hit zeros out on the left, leaving 13s is equal to 24 plus 15, that's going to be 39. Finally, we're going to undo multiplication and division by dividing 13 on both sides, on the left and on the right. 13 divided by 13 is 1. 1 times s is s. 39 divided by 13 is 3. So each of the snacks cost him $3. And $3 for a snack at the fair, I think that's a really good price. Hit your 3 right here. Check your answer. The answer checks. This is showing your work. That is what I must see if you want credit for it. And now we're on to example 5, the last set of examples, which I think they're going to step the game up on us a little bit. Miss Murphy's class of 20 students is going on a field trip to the Science Center. They will also watch a 3D movie. Mr. Todd's class of 15 students is going on a field trip to the Art Museum, and they will take an audio tour. Admissions to the Art Museum is 2.5 times the admissions of the Science Museum, as shown on the table. So we're going to come down here to the table, and we're going to see that the entry fee for the Science Museum is going to be X dollars per student. The entry fee for the Art Museum is 2.5 times the Science Museum, which I'm thinking I get gypped going there because I'd rather see science and art, but hey. Meanwhile, the 3D movie at the Science Museum is $2.50, and the audio tour of the Art Museum, that's $1, so they can talk to you about art. How exciting. Okay. If the total cost is going to be the same at both the Art Museum and the Science Museum, what is the cost per student going to be for the Science Center? So from here, we're going to take and set that information equal to each other. We need to say that we've got the Science Center, I believe it had 15 students, and it was 15 students times, let me go back and, there's the answer, information right there. So you had 15 students times $2.50 per student, and then the Art Center had 20 students times 2.5 times the cost of the Science Center plus $1 per student. That's the equation we're going to be working here. Let me wiggle that, make it work. Hold on. Actually, I have those backwards. The science, there's 15 students going to the art and 20 students going to the science, and now my equation is correct. From there, we're going to work on isolating our variable just like we've done. First thing they did is use a distributive property, distributing the 20 through the grouping symbol on the right, which gave them this, the 15 through the grouping symbol on the left, which gave them that. Next, they're going to undo or move the variable numbers to the right-hand side, keeping them positive by subtracting 20x from both sides. The 20x that's on the left zero each other out, leaving you 50, and on the right, 37.5 minus 20, that's going to leave us 17.5x, and the plus 15 comes down. Now we're going to undo addition and subtraction by subtracting 15 from both sides. The 15's on the right zero out, leaving you with just 17.5x, and on the left, 50 minus 15, that's going to equal to 35. Finally, you're going to undo multiplication and division, dividing the 17.5 on both sides. 17.5 divided by 17.5 is 1. 1 times x is x. 35 divided by 17.5, we can do that one in our head easy enough. That's going to end up being 2. So your final answer is that the entry fee for one student to go to the Science Center is going to cost them $2. From here, we're going to reset that one and go on to your last problem to work on your own. Read through it, create your own equations, solve your own equations. It's going to give you a chance to check the equation you came up with first, and then for you to solve it right here. Good luck. Cora and Penelope are participating in a fitness program. Part of the program includes walking, while the other part includes running. Cora trains for 5 weeks. Penelope trains for 6 weeks. So right there, I know off the top that I'm going to be doing Cora is going to be 5 times something, while Penelope is going to be 6 times something. They each walk the same number of miles per week. So, and complete the same number of miles in total over their training. In addition, Cora runs 3 3/4 miles each week, while Penelope runs 2 miles each week. So we're going to take and look at that and say that look at it again here. They each walk the same number of miles, but we don't know how much they are because it wants to know how many miles did each one walk. So I'm going to say right there that they both walk some number of miles, which is going to be M. And then, let's see here, each week, and the same number of miles total of training, yep. And then in addition, Cora, and Cora is going to be the girl on the left, she runs 3 3/4 miles. Meanwhile, Penelope runs 2 miles, and those are going to be equal to each other. It says write and solve an equation to find the number of miles that each person walks each week. From there, we're going to take it, and we know that it's going to be equal there because it says here that they complete the same number of miles total in the training, so that means that your two sides are going to be equal. From here, we're going to use our distributive property. 5 times M is going to be 5M, and then I'm also going to have to do 5 times 3 3/4 is also known as 12, 15 over 4, which is going to end up giving me, that's 30, 60, 75 over 4, which is how we're just going to leave that right now. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, we've got some easier math going on. We're going to take and do 6 times M is going to be 6M plus 6 times 2. That's going to end up being 12. Now, from there, I've got to start getting my variable numbers together. So I'm going to subtract 5M from both sides. And when I do this, those zero out, and that's going to leave me with, 75 over 4. I think I'm going to go ahead and change that. I'm going to change that back into a mixed number. So 75 divided by 4, that's going to become 1. That's going to become 4, which is going to be 16 with 1 left over. It's going to go into that 3 times, which is going to be 12 with 3 left over. So that's going to be 43 and 3/4. So I'll have 43 and 3/4 miles here is equal to, and on this side, 6M minus 5M, that's just going to be M plus 12. I just realized I did some really bad math because I couldn't read my handwriting. I changed that to 175 when it was actually just going to be 75. So let me get all this extra stuff out of the way, and then we're going to rewrite it the right way. 4 goes into 7 one times, and then erase some more stuff down here. So come on, give me my eraser. And then we're going to take and say 1 times 4 is 4. That's going to leave 3 left over, bring down to 5. 4 goes into that 8 times, which is going to be 32 with 3 left over. So in actuality, this number here is going to be 18 and 3/4. Now we get to subtract 12 from both sides. And when we do that, these 12s zero each other out, leaving M is equal to 18 minus 12. That's going to leave me with 6 3/4 miles total. Let's jump back over to our problem form. And on our problem form, we had this young lady here did the 5. This one here, that should be a 2. Check those parts, that's good. And our final answer I came up with, I had it as a decimal or as a fraction. They want a decimal, 6.75 miles. Check your answer, and the answer checks. That's going to be it for this assignment. Get busy working on your homework. I'll entertain any questions you have in class tomorrow.